Hello and welcome back to the CFC Talk podcast. I'm your host, Mohammed Saleja, joined by a special guest tonight, Pranay, all the way from Taco from behind. How are you doing, Taco? Taco.
How are you doing, Tackle?
well, how are you doing, Taco?
I'm all good, man. All fine.
Pardon.
Thank you for having me on the show. And yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, if for those of you who don't know, Pranay is a Man City fan, so it's going to be quite an interesting talk today. We're not going to just discuss the general transfer news as we've done, but also talk a little bit about the title hopes that Chelsea might have or what other team thinks of Chelsea's chances next year. And before we head into it straight, I want to mention Koundé, the deal with Koundé and what's happening with that. Pranay, what are your thoughts looking at it from outside? Because right now it seems like someone says Chelsea's close, and then someone says, "Oh, Barcelona might be closer," and then it's a race to the flag, the checkered flag, I should say first. Then is it?
Funny you mentioned out from the outside. I mean, even from the inside, I don't know about Chelsea or Barcelona. The teams inside. The teams who look after the transfers and all would be too sure about that. But from outside, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I think it's a weird situation because we've got Chelsea journalists saying, "Oh, Chelsea have a personal deal, personal terms agreed since last year. All they need to do is match the Villa's fees, and they're fine with that. And that Koundé is coming to Chelsea, his preferred option, although Barcelona, which kind of puts a dagger through Chelsea fans, which we don't want to see. But you yourself and Man City have had I would say, sort of a successful transfer window with Erling Haaland coming in. It's a big name coming to it, and then along with that, you guys have secured, Calvin Phillips, who's also a great signing. Just a quick touch on, the two signings that you've made so far, and what are your expectations from them next season?
I mean, it's gonna be very for Erling. Like, I think for us, the transfer window was like the moment it started, it like ended for us because we got Haaland. Like even before like the transfer window started, even like any teams had a little chance of like even like Chelsea waking up at the last minute, or Barcelona just waking up and saying, okay, no, we need to find a striker. We did our business, and that's been the case for, I mean, I think all of our players, like even Julian Alvarez also, we agreed the personal terms with him way back in Jan. And then Calvin Phillips was like out of nowhere, man. Like no one even had a sniff that we are signing a quality player like that. So I mean, in total, I think we had a very great transfer window. Like I would rate it one of the, I think in probably past 5 or 4 seasons, I think this was one of the best transfer season that we have had. Of course, there's some transfers that hurts you the most, and some have been like that, like Sterling leaving, Zinchenko leaving, which has been very personal to me, and Gabriel Jesus as well. So there's been quite a lot of in and out, but I think overall, if you ask me, I think we're still we have done our business. Now we are going for Cucurella, so hopefully we'll close him on that as well.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that, because Haaland, I felt like it was a Man City thing to figure it out and get him to Man City, even though Real Madrid were interested, Chelsea were in their mix as well at times. But Calvin Phillips was just out of nowhere. Especially for someone who's not a Man City fan, doesn't necessarily follow every news day. And I woke up one day and I was like, oh, okay, he's a Man City player. And then I realized, wait,
there were a few targets. Like Pep Guardiola have given previous good statement about him, and he's of course he was the one to really raised eyebrows in the Euros. He performed very well for England, and I think, I mean, I didn't like, no one saw it actually coming, because there was very little news updates on him. But I mean, for 40 million or 42 million, whatever the amount that is on pounds or dollars, I think it is a steal deal for us. Absolutely steal deal. We have a good, defensive midfielder at the back. And it's been a long season. So it's going to be a very long season. And in this season, you need the squad depth at your most, because the World Cup is also there. So for that, I think it's been a great signing for us.
Yeah, I think you guys have been really quick and lucky with, just quickly getting your business done. Just touching on the outgoings, as you mentioned, Sterling and Zinchenko. What are your thoughts? Not necessarily on the player, because you've made those clear by saying that you wouldn't have let maybe Sterling or Zinchenko leave Man
Mm,
City, but
I would have still let Sterling leave because he wasn't performing well for us since last 2 seasons. I think his pace is the key, and it's like the clock is ticking. Like his pace is drying out. Okay, that is one thing that I think we all can agree.
I will add in. It's funny to see a Man City fan complain about their wingers when we're stuck with Pulisic, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Werner, and
I mean, Pulisic is still. I don't know like how Chelsea fans rate Pulisic, but I really like Pulisic, man. I mean, he's performed
I
performed
think
well. Like I
in
think it's more of a mixed reaction, just like Sterling. Oh, I
yeah,
don't know.
it's a bit more of, we know there is potential, and we know that there is a lot behind that player that can come, that we haven't seen, and we saw that very long time ago, right after COVID, when the restart happened, and he was almost contributing every game. But it's also the factor of him getting injured every now and then, and
Yeah,
you know walking into a game thinking, oh, Pulisic might play this one, and you find out, oh, he's got a niggle in training yesterday, or he was warming up and he's not able to play or whatever. So those are the things that have created doubts in Chelsea fans' mind, and that's
yeah.
why we've kind of thought about maybe
I mean,
switching
for
it up.
Chelsea, I think when I hear it, I think it is to a no doubt that Sterling is a better upgrade. I think probably if not Man City, I think Sterling deserves to be in any of the Premier League squad. Of course, and he deserves to be in the City squad as well. But I mean, with Sterling, honestly, I'm not been a major fan of Sterling ever since like I think 2018-19. Not a very Sterling fan, but yeah, I think 50 million plus some add-ons, it's a great deal for us. And I think there are few stats which I want to just mention. This, like he's almost started all of the games in, like he's the most appeared player for Guardiola in the last 5 seasons. So that really proves that he's not injury prone. Someone who he's with Sterling, I always see him on the City bench. Either he's playing or he's on bench, but injury has never been a concern for them. So you're getting a consistent, proven Premier League player into the squad. So for you, it makes sense. But I think for City, we have now a few other talents, that we way more in. So in terms of that, I think it's been a win-win situation for I think both of the teams. But I think I just want to just wrap this up in terms of Sterling situation is that I think we still got a better deal out of Sterling because uh, I just rate him more like a Theo Walcott player. Like his pace is running out, so maximum he's gonna go like 2 season or maximum 3 season, and maybe you want to see him Arsenal after after that.
Look, I'm not saying
For all
much, but I'm not. I'm not gonna say much, except if if we can get Sterling to score a Champions League final goal against you guys, remember that tackle from Rudiger, and if that tackle doesn't happen and Sterling scores, I think that
Yeah,
56 million's paid off.
I mean, you know what? Uh, when the final was happening, right? As soon as the lineups were announced, okay, as soon as the lineups were announced, I did tweet it that Sterling starts. Thomas Tuchel starts Sterling, and this is the end game. We have lost the game. This is before just 1 hour before the game. Sorry,
No worries.
this is just 1 hour before the game. So I mean, I have not been and like people call it like Pep overthinking. That was actually the Pep overthinking. Dude, Sterling didn't even start most of the UCL game that campaign, and you start him all the way in the final against Chelsea. And I just knew, man, like the moment Sterling would be 1-on-1, he knew that he wasn't deserved to be in that squad, and that's how he missed it. So now since he's gone, I can say whatever I want to.
I have the right to defend him now. I have to
Yeah,
defend
yeah,
him.
yeah.
No, but I think the more serious question in terms of Sterling, Jesus, and Zinchenko is how do Man City fans feel that you've got three players, might not be the best three players at the club, but key players in the Man City squad who've left, and not just left, but left to Man City's direct
Direct rival.
rivals.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
how
yeah.
does that feel? Is it a mixed feeling, or would you have rather preferred him to go to outside of England, because what Man City have done has given Chelsea the chance, Arsenal the chance to maybe catch up, or give a bit of a difficult title race for Man City this season.
I mean, I completely agree to that, man. But I think anyone outside England, yeah, probably, but I don't think so. Anyone would have paid that amount of money to us, maybe like a 40 million or a 5-10 million less. I know it's leaving for direct rivals. I rate Arsenal really above because they just, I mean, people troll Arsenal all they want, but they really missed out with just few points for the Champions League spot. I mean, they were actually, Arteta ball was real, like it was actually real. So in terms of that, I think both of the teams have got great Arsenal. And see, one of the things that I personally like is both. I've been a huge admirer of Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus because whenever both of the players played in a Man City shirt, they gave 100% of their, they gave 100% to the batch. So I just love them. I just love them both. Now since both of them have left, I just wish them the best. And since both of the players have also worked with Arteta in the past, like Arteta was with us under Guardiola since.
Yeah.
So I wish them the best. And, Zinchenko and both, I think Gabriel Jesus will be on top of that. I mean, I just see tweets, Arsenal, Gabriel Jesus preseason goals, and he scored in like 90 seconds or what. So that is the kind of talent he has. And I think Zinchenko also deserves a lot of credit. In maybe I think Arteta will play him in the midfield, and that is something that I actually wanted to see him on as a player, because I just really love Zinchenko. He's like a very versatile player and always was there for us. In fact, there were few situations when there were a lot of interest from other clubs, but he didn't went. We got signings. He fought for Cancelo for his place, so he was always a key player to Man City, I think, under Guardiola ever since he's been with us. But now since he has left, I wish both of them whatever they do, I just wish them the best because they're Man
Does
City
it
guys.
does the wish come from the heart, or is it just from just to say it kind of thing?
No. I mean, Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko both, yes,
Yeah.
from the heart. Sterling, no. We lost the Champions League final because and we're giving it to Chelsea. So that was like, I just put out a wish in the universe, and that tweet came back. I was like, I literally wrote that 1 year ago. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I think, yeah, you're right on the fact that these are great additions for the respective clubs, Chelsea and Arsenal. And yeah, to a certain degree, Man City might be worried that this might come back and bite them. But at the same time, a league is played over 38 games, and you don't play 38 games against Chelsea. So you might lose that odd one out, but you might gain some points somewhere else using Haaland or some other players, of the youngsters that you've mentioned in this list. But yeah, I think in terms of the title challenge, which I guess everyone right now is talking about, Man City and Liverpool, we've seen for the past couple of years, more than that they've been, neck and neck. It's always been a point behind each other, and it's never been a clear race in the last few years. With Chelsea, it seemed like right at the start we were flying off. No one's going to stop us until, it's not the players that affect us. It's just November and December. So as long as we don't play football in November and December, we're good. So this year we're more confident because of the World Cup being in that month. But what do you
Yeah.
think Chelsea's chances are in terms of, catching up to Man City, or even becoming direct rivals after us signing, Koulibaly and Sterling, obviously, and then, with Lukaku going?
I mean, see, man, I mean, you can never write off, Chelsea and again, like, uh, there are a few, like, I just believe, man, Thomas Tuchel is just he's an excellent manager, man. Like whatever he's done with Chelsea, it's amazing. Like he's won the Champions League, of course, and post that, like I've always seen Chelsea play good football. I mean, there have been some downs and lows, which I think almost every, like, you can't just win all the games until you're Guardiola, but uh, Tuchel is just amazing, man. Like he will be a serious threat for us. I think I genuinely believe in our title race, the two teams that I fear the most. I mean, of course, Liverpool will be there, but the two teams that I fear the most is Chelsea and Spurs. And I'll be just straight up honest. I really rate Spurs to be more threatening in this season, with Conte getting his pick his side of his players. I think Spurs would be the most threatening team this season. I think, yeah, just like Chelsea. I mean, I would rate them both equally, but I would still just give that one brownie point to Spurs, because what they're doing in the transfer window and what Conte showed in the second half of the season is something I don't want to see that for like an entire season. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I think Tottenham and I think even way before this transfer window, when there were rumors about Conte going to Tottenham, a lot of Chelsea fans would realize that this is not a good move for Chelsea because we saw what Conte did in such a short period of time at Chelsea, and it looked like no team was close to us after he figured out that three at the back formation, and we went on
Yeah,
to win those 11 games or 12 games. But they've also brought in some great additions: Richarlison, Basuma,
yeah,
Perisic as well, I think, and on a free as well, which is a good one. And then
yeah.
on top of they've already got Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, and everyone. And Spurs are looking good. And I don't know if you've seen the training videos or the videos of them running the length of the pitches and passing out after that. You can tell Conte is not playing around.
Yeah,
He's not here to
yeah,
just get another Champions League spot and then make the owners happy. He's here to make sure they win. And in terms of Chelsea's transfer, I completely agree with you. I think we still need a few additions before we can be considered serious transfer, not transfer rivals, title rivals. Because with Koulibaly and Sterling coming in, it's almost a direct replacement of two of the players that are left.
Rudiger,
Rudiger's left, Christensen's
yeah,
left, so we're still in search of, even though we were talking about not Colwell, but Kunde coming in, we're still thinking, is Colwell
if
going to
he
be
comes
able to
in, if he comes in.
look? I think I'd like to live in the fantasy world of Chelsea has already signed it, and we're sitting next to Kunde, Koulibaly, and Sterling, and maybe even Kimpembe, even though he said he wants to stay at PSG.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
Kimpembe is a far stretch.
yeah.
Although like PSG has given a want away price, or I think 55 million or something. They've told him if a better offer comes, then they might leave him. But I think, yeah, Kunde would be the first priority, and I think I still somehow feel that Chelsea needs to, like, definitely needs to sign some more defenders, man. Like, because Christensen, Rudiger, I can't like all like I can't name anyone from your bench, even like any player from your bench. So you need proper defenders at the bench to replace or what and I think even Thiago Silva, man, like, although Thiago Silva is a beast, like, I rate him one of the best defenders, but he's aging, like, you need someone to you will be at the same spot after one season again, looking out for someone like Thiago Silva leaving. So I think Chelsea definitely needs to sign some young defenders, even for this, not just for this season, but on a longer prospect. That's what I feel.
No, yeah, like that is what's worrying a lot of Chelsea fans right now is, we've let a 29-year-old Rudiger go on a free, and then we've on top of that we've let a 26-year-old Andreas Christensen on a free as well. So two players where we could have at least made some money from to maybe fund this Koulibaly deal or Kunde coming in, or maybe even Kimpembe if that were to happen. And now it
In
just seems
today's
like,
market, I'm sorry to cut you off, but in today's market, Rudiger would be around, I think, 20, 60, 70, 75 million,
yeah.
man. Like, that's the quality he possess. Like, have you seen, like, I was scared as hell. Like, even in the UCL final, every time we used to face, I mean, he's the one that got KDB that black eye, like,
Yeah.
he was the one to
No,
kill
he's the bully
KDB.
of Chelsea FC. He
Yeah.
Diego Costa back in the time. We've
Yeah.
finally found a new Diego Costa in the team, and now
Yeah.
we've let him go for a free. And and
I mean,
and
yeah, you're getting Koulibaly for like 40 million, and you're letting 29-year-old Rudiger leave for free. That is something that just doesn't add up at
and
all.
what worries me is the salary structure at Chelsea is put in place in a way where we weren't able to give Rudiger the salary that he wanted, but yet we had Lukaku on almost 300k a week, Werner on 280 a week, and we've got players like Mason Mount and Reece James getting the bare minimum in terms of salaries at top clubs like Chelsea. It's way higher than whatever a lot of players get, but it's still compared to like Werner, Ziyech, Pulisic, who are getting 200, 250,000 every single week. Lukaku used to get almost 300,000 a week. Sterling's now come in. He's getting
300K,
330,000. And yet
yeah.
we couldn't raise the bar for Rudiger and give him 250 or 280, what he was asking for. Christensen, I think he made up his mind. He was like, you know what, Barcelona's for me. But with Rudiger, it was like we weren't bothered enough to give him what he was asking. And it was concerning because he's someone who's 29. Even if he got a 3-year contract, and if we got Koulibaly this year and Koundé, that would have been perfect for the next few seasons. You wouldn't have to worry about the defense.
Imagining Rudiger and Koulibaly together back with Mendy, dude, I can't imagine that.
And then Klopp and Silva.
I can't even imagine that. And Reece James, dude, what the hell? Dude?
And Chilwell.
Yeah, and Chilwell. I mean, if he stays injury, like if he stays without injury, then yeah. I mean, because I really like Ben Chilwell, but I mean, he got injured, most of the season last season. So yeah, but I mean, just now when I think it and when you say it, I will be like, whoa, dude, that could have been something start of amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I still think Chelsea can salvage some of that with Koulibaly coming in, Koundé coming in, and if Kimpembe does as well, then you've got something to work with. But your direct rivals right now, Liverpool, they've they saw you've got Haaland and they were like, you know what, we're not stopping here. We're going to get Darwin Núñez. 75 million euros they paid for him. And I don't know whether the interview that came out, I don't know if you saw it, of Benfica being very surprised at the asking price
I think
for Darwin Núñez.
Is that for real or is that for me? Like, I think
I don't know, but if whatever it is, it does put a sense of doubt in or a sense of happiness in rival fans' faces. As a Man City fan, it must feel amazing reading that. Look, mate, we've just signed Haaland for the same price as you've signed someone else.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, man. I mean, and this question I even put up to a lot of Liverpool fans that, okay, you're rating Darwin Núñez all of a sudden that, he's like the striker and someone that you've got, and he's gonna score goals because he plays under that structure. But I mean, you pay 20 million more than us for Haaland, and like everyone's seen Haaland, dude, like how monstrous of a striker he is, and he's prolific, he's clinical, so something that you just can't compare. And paying that much amount of money, although I was surprised at first because Liverpool are known for not spending that kind of money. They've only spent that kind of money for the players they've actually won them the titles, in the long run. It could be Van Dijk and Alisson on tops. So paying that much amount of money for Núñez, I don't know, man. I need to see. But I mean, again, dude, like Klopp is, even I rate Klopp at its highest. I mean, someone who's done so far, credits where it's due. So we gotta wait and watch. Although like he didn't perform, like there are some few memes and few clips going viral of Darwin Núñez missing in the training or everything. But I think, dude, he's gonna score like 10-15 goals in his first season, for sure.
Yeah, I think with Liverpool, you're right in terms of them having amazing scouts. We've seen that. And
they got Luis Diaz out of nowhere, dude.
Yeah.
Like they got it out of nowhere, and he's like a Rafinha, dude. Like I would rate him better than Rafinha, to be very, very honest. Like, and they got it for 35 million, and Leeds is selling him for like 70 million. So I mean, their scouts, their structure of Liverpool spending money, like it's like Moneyball all over again, man.
Yeah, I think Liverpool, when it comes to spending money, they're very smart. They're not like Man City and Chelsea just trying to go for the big names right on the spot and publicly targeting those players. Even though they've got a few players who have left, Divock Origi, who's their famous 90th minute goal scorer every game. Whenever they need a goal, they just put him on, get a goal, and that's pretty much his role. Mane, the big one, who's left. Minamino, not as big, but he's gone to Monaco as well. So I think even though they've lost a few players and they've sold a few players, they look pretty confident in terms of what they can achieve next season and troubling Man City right at the top again and challenging the title again.
Yeah, man. I mean, of course. So one more thing about Liverpool is whatever the transfers they've left out, I think Mane is someone that I believe they cannot replace him at very near, because he was actually the one, like he was the actually one out and out for all the games. Like I've seen him play in like FA games, Carabao Cup games. He used to be like the, even if the whole structure is not there, Mane is the one that used to provide that stability. And someone who like even few of the games which, let's say, Salah missed out, or any of the striker is missing out, Mane was like the proper front three. Like you can place him at anywhere of the position and he's gonna get you goals. So I think replacing Mane would be something that Liverpool has to cope up this season.
Yeah, I don't think they're. I haven't seen much of their transfer news, but I can't seem
Jude,
to think they're.
they're saying like there's some rumors about Jude Bellingham, but I don't think so. It's gonna
Yeah,
happen now. They've spent so much money, on the transfers.
that's what I'm thinking as well. I think Liverpool think they might just be fine without Mane, and with Darwin Núñez coming in, they might figure out something for the season, which I guess is a great sign of a great manager. But in terms of, you know, Man City and maybe winning the Champions League next season, what are your hopes of that?
I
Because
mean, dude,
with
I've been saying
Guardiola,
that since 5, 6, 7, ever since Guardiola's come in, I've been hopeful of that. The next season, I mean, it's more of like old Liverpool saying is that next season is going to be our season. So that I say the Champions League. Uh, but I mean, dude, I just don't know how to answer this question. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of creators ask me, like, what about your Champions League title? I'm like, dude, I mean, we could have won the Chelsea one. We could have last season we could have just gone through the Real Madrid game in the 89th minute. Before that, that Spurs game where Sterling was just inches, millimeters of offside, which was ruled out against us. And then, I mean, Monaco draw and all of that. So, I mean, we've been like seriously unlucky. I don't know, man. It could be either the African Yaya Toure curse. I generally believe it's just because of that. Because how can we be so unlucky every season? So I mean, yeah, I mean, you can never, we are always the, top 3 or top 4 favorites to win. But again, we got to see, man. Now, since we have got Haaland, I think someone who can provide us goals, although we were still scoring 100 plus goals, now we can score some more goals and probably win the Champions League.
it's one of those where you look at Chelsea and say, oh, these are the positions they're weak in. Let's improve these positions, and then we can say they can challenge. You look at Liverpool and say this, and this needs to be fixed, and then their challenges. And then you look at Man City and you go, oh
There's
wait, they
nothing.
didn't win the Champions League.
Yeah.
Oh, they haven't won it. Oh, and then you're like, whoa, how is it? Because you look at it and you've got the perfect players for the perfect positions, and it's like Man City have continuously the last few years have done really well all the way since game one, all the way to semi-final, and then it's the final where they just are, Guardiola happens, and that's the end of that at the end. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I will say next season. I think I'll, from a Chelsea fan's perspective, yes, we were 20 points behind title winners, but I think next season we can cover that gap easily, and we're just going to be right up there with Liverpool and Man City, because November's gone, December's gone. This is our chance to just play the way we've been doing throughout the year, because we do well right at the start and then right at the end, and then the middle is just
Now middle you have Qatar World Cup, so you're
yeah.
good.
So exactly, it's the perfect situation, and I'm really hoping that our wing backs don't get injured, because we don't have perfect replacements for them right now. Alonso might leave, and as for Laqueta might leave, and it's not like if Alonso stayed, it would have been a big difference. Oh, Chilwell injured, no worries, we've got someone like a backup with Alonso. He can barely run the full length of pitch. I don't know how he played under Conte in that back three. Still surprises me, to be honest. But yeah, other than that, there isn't much on the cards to discuss. But in terms of the Champions League, which teams do you think Man City would be fearing? Outside of the Premier League, obviously with the Spanish league and the German league.
Real Madrid, man. I mean, again, Real Madrid, and I think Real Madrid and I think Barcelona would be again a team that we all have to look out for.
Can we talk about how Barcelona is buying out players as if they've got enough money to pay their own players?
Yeah, if you want to talk about, we can talk
No,
about.
I'm just very surprised, because I was looking at their transfer and I was like,
I mean, they're going on out on bidding war and you release statements there that it's like owned salary for Frankie for like 20 millions, and then the next day a news come up that they're getting Rafinha for 70,
Yeah,
and then the
that was
next
the
day
funniest one because they announced their partnership or something of 200 million with a broadcasting right or something,
yeah.
and 20 minutes later tweeted out, "Welcome Rafinha." 3 days later, "Welcome Lewandowski." It's like they're selling their club just to buy players, and
I
then
mean, like, okay, I'm not talking about Lewandowski as a player. We all know, he's Lewandowski, okay. But I mean, paying 50 million for a 34 million, like, sorry, paying 50 million for a 34-year-old is just bad business, man. Like, you can't even sell him off after, you pay 50 million for someone who's pretty young, or someone who's, you look out as a long-term vision, or someone, who's at 25 or let's say 20, whom you really see the potential. But I mean, you could have got Lewandowski for free in a year, and given him a 2-year contract. And they already have strikers like Ferran Torres, Aubameyang, you name Dembele in the front. They've got Rafinha. I mean, Rafinha still makes, okay, 70 million. It still makes a difference to me. But paying almost 40, 50 million for Lewandowski is just, in business, I would say it's a very bad, bad. And this is all public records. Like, this is all public statements that Laporta has been giving out. They're selling their rights, they've sold their stadium rights, although it's a way to make money, nothing against it. But when you're in such a deep shit, uh, these are probably the transfers that maybe after, let's say, 3-4 years down the line we'll be seeing in some documentary. So we have
yeah,
to
no,
wait for
I
that.
completely agree with you on that because I think that is one of the reasons Chelsea pulled out on pulled the plug on Lewandowski transfer, because they realized we're not paying 34 million for someone like Lewandowski if we've got Lukaku still on the books even though he's on loan,
Yeah,
which is a disaster class for transfer, and then with that, with Broha leaving, it just leaves Kai Havertz. Even though we do need a striker, at the same time, it's not an urgent matter where we spend out 34 million just for a 34-year-old. And with Chelsea's policy of not giving a contract more than 1 year, which to my surprise has been broken for the first time in
yeah.
ages for Koulibaly, who's gotten until 2025, I think it is. And Sterling's going to have one as well until he's 2027. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Great discussion, I would say, and your quick predictions right before we end it with Man City. With what are your predictions with Man City next season? Winning it all, or
I mean, Premier League definitely we should win. Champions League, of course. I mean, I think Premier League next season is gonna be a more tough than I think Champions League. That's as a personal, I believe, because there's been so much things happening at the Premier League for at every individual club. Even we're not talking about Newcastle, but they're just sneaking out good players in their team as well. Although they won't be like a title contenders or anyone. Like, they'll obviously try to challenge for Europe, for a Conference League, Europa, and then maybe Champions League. But it's just too much stakes right now. And since all the transfers are happening, it's not just about teams getting good players. It's also about when you play against those teams, you want to drop some points. Maybe Spurs, I would say, will win it, okay. But now, since Spurs is a strong team, I would maybe go for a draw, or maybe like we can lose, or so the point gap will be very less. I don't think so it's going to be a 90 plus season because of the way the things are at the transfer market. But I still think we're going to be edging this maybe around like 80 85 points on tops, since we've got Haaland. And for Champions League, again, man, I don't know, man. Like, it's I have nothing to say. I have nothing to say. Nothing.
leave it to Guardiola to handle.
if I
You
say
get
something, if I say something, I'll be in big trouble.
you can't use our line. That's
Radio is
rough.
the global
Uh,
boss. Come on. It's
yeah,
football
no,
heritage, man. Come on.
yeah, it has to be. No, I completely agree. I think the same goes with Chelsea. I think we have a good chance in every competition we play in, and it's just about keeping the group together and staying confident and not losing our hopes. Because look, out of nowhere back in 2021, we won the Champions League. Like, no one in January would have said Frank Lampard has just gotten sacked. And even though we brought in Tuchel, no one would have said, "Oh, Chelsea's got a chance," because we had Bayern, I can't remember, Atletico on the cards, who hadn't been beaten all time. So I think, yeah, it's going to be a very unpredictable season in terms of, Premier League clubs, with all these transfers coming in, and the big spending of most clubs after COVID, and Chelsea going long and high with paying a lot of money for players, because Todd Bowley wants to make a statement right off the bat saying, "Look, I'm not here just to own the club. I'm here to run it and win trophies." So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It was a great chat, Pranay. Thank you for coming on the podcast, and we look forward to having you again and again. More than happy to have you as anytime. Especially after a loss of Man City, will be amazing to have you on.
Great. I'll be looking forward for all of the discussions in the
No
future
worries.
as well.
No worries. Thank you guys for watching. If you're listening on an audio platform, make sure to add us to your playlist. It really helps the algorithm and really helps us grow. And if you're watching it on YouTube, make sure to leave a like, rating, subscribe to Pranay and all of his social media pages. It'll be on the description below. Follow our social media pages for the latest transfer news regarding Chelsea, as well as big clubs, including Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham, PSG, Bayern Munich, and many more. I wouldn't call Barcelona a big club now, but that's all we've got for tonight.
They're pulling the plug and they're getting Kunde now. I mean, the moment Laporta hears this podcast, he'll be like, throw that 100 million we got from Spotify right now and get Kunde right here in front of
Now he's
my
gonna ban the podcast from Spotify. I need to ban a podcast. No, yeah, that's all we've got for tonight. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Until then, stay safe.